Hey Flosstube, I'm Danielle and this is my channel for cross stitching, and I also dive and paint, but not as much, so you might see like a tiny bit of that, and then if I ever decide to do any other kind of crafting, I'll show it here. But today we just have cross stitch today, and so it's been about a month since my first-ish video. If you watched it, you know what I mean by first-ish video. And thank you all so much for everybody who's decided to subscribe and come back, and thank you to everybody who is here now. I really appreciate you all. Oh, hi Piper, do you want to say hi to the foster people? Oh my goodness. Oh goodness. Yeah, hi. As soon as I started talking, she came over. Yeah, this is my dog Piper. She's one of my two dogs. I have two dogs. The other one is in bed with my husband. But she doesn't really leave my side. So she's always with me when because I'm the late night owl of the house. So I'm usually up past everybody else. And so she's always with me. She goes up to bed to get her bedtime COOKIE, and then she comes straight back down to be with me. Yeah. You say hi to the Flosstube people? Yeah. Yeah. She's like, Mama, can I just stay up here with you? No, you can't. But yeah, so it's been about a month. All right, you can stay with me while I talk about the month. And it's been a month, y'all. It has been a month. I didn't get as much stitching in as I wanted to get in because for a few reasons. So okay, all right. Say bye to Flosstube. And if you hear her scratch on the door, trust me, she's fine. She's been outside. She just, as we discussed last month, she's a bit of a drama queen and doesn't like it that I'm not sitting on the couch with her. So she'll try to scratch on the door to let me know her displeasure. So the first thing in the month that happened that sort of derailed me was I got my COVID booster shot, and it wasn't bad by any means, but first shot, just sore arm, not a big deal. Second shot was like next day I was like tired and lethargic, but I just went to bed early, got a good night's sleep, and woke up fine the next day, and really sore arm. But this third one was a little bit a tiny bit more intense, just in that my arm didn't hurt as bad. It only hurt as bad as the first time, but I was definitely more worn out and it was for surprisingly about a week. It was just, and it wasn't that I felt bad or anything, but I just didn't feel like doing anything really. So then right as I recovered from that, I was also kind of achy, not all the time, but if I got too tired, then I got super achy in my feet and my ankles and my knees. And that did last about a week. Then right as I got over the COVID booster side effects, I went to the beach, and I always take stitching with me whenever I go anywhere, but I almost never actually stitch. I did stitch a few stitches, but I just want to lay in bed and scroll through my phone, or be on the beach. I can't get myself to sit down to stitch. So between those two things, that knocked out a good 10 days of the month. Then we had some drama going on here at home. We had a roommate type person, but I use the word roommate like super loosely because it wasn't really like a traditional, like, oh, you live here and you pay rent. No. He is an adult, but he sort of very, very high functioning, but not able to like really take care of himself in the real world, you know, like he can cook and clean and stuff like that, but he can't, you know, not super capable of doing things like filling out forms and having a job, and lots of complications in his life due to that. And due to our circumstances of my brother-in-law needing as much care as he needs, he sort of helped us in that regard. That was how he contributed, helped us with like a lot of cleaning and a lot of supervision, and, you know, just sort of like, you know, made our lives a little easier. And there, some drama went down between us and him, and he decided that he no longer desired to be here. And so, you know, he was moving out basically. And, you know, even though we weren't moving, like moving affects everybody. And so, plus like there was just tension. And so for me, I tried to stay away as much as possible, which cut into my stitching time too. So that was sort of my month. Got back on track after he left. It's been an adjustment because, you know, that I would say about 95% of what he helped with around here falls to me because my husband does have a job outside the home and I don't. So it's been a bit of an adjustment for me. So, you know, we're getting there. But yeah, so that was my month, and that's why I didn't get as much stitching done as I really had wanted to. But hoping for a good couple months ahead as I adjust and things. There's no tension anymore, obviously, because he's gone. So it should be good. How was everybody's Halloween? I'm recording this on, it's technically November 1st, but I'm still awake from October 31st. We had, my husband worked all day. He works swing shifts, so he didn't get home till 9:30 at night. We did some like homemade pizza. We watched a couple Halloween-y things before he had to go to bed. We really like to watch the Garfield Halloween special. We own the Garfield Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas specials on one DVD. I love that. Like, we're both big Garfield fans. Also, I apologize if you can hear a clanking in the background. We have an exhaust out of our microwave that I don't know how it's designed or what the deal is, but the wind catches it and clanks it against the outside wall. Anyway, so we watched that. It was funny, while he was still at work, 6:30, I got a knock on the door, and of course my other dog, security guru dog, went all Cujo, you know, barking his head off. I thought it was an Amazon delivery because I was expecting an Amazon package, and they usually deliver to me really late. So I didn't even get up at first, and got up, went to the door, no package. I was like, okay, what was that about? So go to my camera app, and I saw it was trick-or-treaters, and I felt horrible because I forgot to turn the porch light off. Because of the dog, he ruins he ruins any illusion of doing, you know, having trick-or-treaters, just because he's just, my anxiety cannot handle him barking his head off for 3 hours while trick-or-treaters knock on the door. So so then I promptly turned the porch light off. But yeah, so that was Halloween. How was your Halloween? Let me know below. I think that was all I wanted to update you on before I start talking about my stitching. So we have whips. Now, the first thing, we'll wait. No, we don't. I lie, we don't have whips first. I don't even know who I am, but I have a fully finished object. Not words you're gonna hear me say a whole heck of a lot on this channel, because I learned very quickly that stitching and finishing stitching are two totally different hobbies, and I have very few fully finishing skills. But I did this. I'm super excited about it. I still think it needs like a bow on top because it's a little flat in my opinion, but it's so cute. Look, this is gonna be we're gonna make sure that this is the screen grab right here. So this is my Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Midnight Way. It was a stitch along last year. Now this was like my first big stitching project. I did, you know, my little cupcake. I did a little like Etsy pattern, but then this was my next thing that I did. And I only started it kind of late because I actually waited to get the fabric, which I was so glad I did, because this is the first time I stitched on Picture This Plus. And when I was debating, I knew I was going to do it, but I was like, oh, I want to start like now. I want to go to the craft store and get fabric and floss to start it right now, because when I signed on for it, Clue 1 had already been released. But I was like, should I wait for the fabric because it'll be purple and pretty? And I'm so glad I did, because I love Picture This Plus. But I stitched this. This is all called for basically, except for some of the white elements like the ghost and the moon and stars I did in glow in the dark white. Other than that, it's completely called for. And I did finish this last year. I finished it, initially I wanted to finish by Halloween, but then I didn't finish by Halloween, so I finished it by the time I started the Christmas wreath style. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. So I finished this like on November 19th or 20th, and then it's just been languishing. And I really like Helen D. That's her Flosstube channel, is Helen D on Instagram. She's East Coast Crafter. She does tutorials for finishing, and even though I don't sew, and like almost everything that, you know, you do to finish cross stitches other than put them in frames requires sewing. She did this one tutorial for a cube, and you know, she's not like, it's not new, but I was like, I could do that. There's no sewing involved. I could do that. So I don't know what made me think about it for this particular project or why I thought about it when I did, but I did. So I went ahead and I ordered styrofoam on Amazon, and I couldn't find any that was thick enough. So I just ordered 1-inch blocks, and I taped 3 of them together. And I ordered the fabric and the ribbon actually on Etsy. Her tutorial called to use the same fabric and just like wrap it around. I struggled with that a little bit because I thought it might look busy. All the fabric that I liked seemed really busy. So I was like, but a ribbon would be really pretty. So I did ribbon. And then because I didn't want to have the pins show, because when she did fabric, because she wrapped it, she could like put the pin under a flap, you know? But because I was gonna just do ribbon, I used stitchery tape to tape the ribbon on. And like I said, I still want like a bow, but for this year to put it on my hutch, and I've been keeping it. Don't want to make you sick, so hold please. That's the other side of this hutch, and I've been keeping it up there next to the little bicycle fall thing. So that is my fully finished object. Frosted Pumpkin, can't go wrong with Frosted Pumpkin. All their stuff is too cute. Then I have a finish, and this is the thing that I took to the beach with me that I thought, oh, I'll totally saff that at the beach. Nope, I got 70 stitches into it. When I came home, I did the other 500 stitches in 2 days. So I totally could have done it at the beach, but I didn't. So this is a Quirky Quaker, one of the mythical creature pack. It's like a 3-pack. It has a unicorn, it has a Loch Ness monster, and then it has 2 versions. It has an abominable snowman slash like Sasquatch. And I stitched this for, so I have a very good friend. Her name is Liv, and we have been friends for 18 years. But she has lived across the country for about 10. Actually, no, sorry, hold on. We've been friends, I'm not gonna math. We have been friends since 2005, and she has been across the country since 2008. So, while I am still her, I am still her best friend. She has made a very, very good friend there who really, this friend of hers that she's made, they don't really have any family or friends because of, you know, who they are. Their family has, you know, decided to not be a part of their lives, and so my friend has become her family, and they really help take care of her. And I really, over the months, because it's been a little while, and it you know, when you're having a relationship over the phone, as we do now, it can take a while to get a good sense of things. And so it took me a while, I think, to kind of fully realize the gravity of, you know, how much this person, you know, being in my friend's life has really helped her. And so, and it's cute because they have no illusions that, you know, whenever anybody is like, oh, isn't Isis your best friend? Isis is the first person to say no. Like, that's Danielle. So I wanted to stitch something for Isis as like an appreciation of thank you for taking such good care of my friend, because, you know, I would love to be that kind of support for her, but obviously I can only do so much from where I am. So, and Isis loves unicorns. So I already wanted to stitch this anyways. So basically what I did was I, you know, came up with a really good excuse to stitch it. And so stitched it. I made a little mistake. This unicorn's forehead is a little bit longer than it should have been. Stupid. Like, I shouldn't say that word. Ridiculous. There we go. The ridiculous counting errors that we make that just make you so mad. But by the time I realized it, I would have had to rip out 75 stitches, and I wasn't ripping out 75 stitches when all I really needed to do was give the unicorn 1 extra stitch in the forehead. So, yay. But yeah, so that was my start and finish for the month. It took me 3 stitching sessions, but again, that really should have only been 2 stitching sessions. So the unicorn is done. And then I thought I would show you, I finish these at other times, but when I get all these fully finished, they are, so that's going to Isis, who again lives with my friend. And these 2 other finishes that I need to fully finish are going to other people, to my friend and another person associated with my friend. So I need to fully finish all of them and then send them on their way. But I thought I would show them to you because I did these sort of, you know, before. They were not relevant in the last Flosstube because they weren't, you know, finishes or whatever. But so, okay. Again, my friend Liv, she has she sort of acts as a grandmother. She's not biologically a grandmother, but she basically acts as a grandmother to a young child. And so I stitched this. I have some issues that I won't get into right now because that's it's a really long story, and you know, just it doesn't really matter. But I've kind of struggled with her relationship with this child for a while, and I thought that stitching something for her would maybe help me a little bit to sort of start incorporating her into my life more, because, you know, this is my best friend. This is like, besides my husband, she's my soulmate. Like, she's not going anywhere, which means the kiddo's not going anywhere. So I stitched this. This is another Frosted Pumpkin stitchery. It's called Up, Up, and Away. And I made some modifications. There was a border around this whole thing. I didn't do the border. I obviously added the name Esmeralda at the bottom. In the pattern, the sun has a face. I decided to do no face. And then, and again, I forgot fabric information, so 1 second. The clouds weren't showing up too well, so I backstitched them with a little bit of gray. This was on 14 count Picture This Plus Ariel, but it's their like opalescent version. I think they call it crystal. And it kind of like, it kind of already looks like clouds, which I liked. So, and then the unicorn, this was on a 16 count Fortnite fabric that I had gotten in a Black Needle Society box from the Rainbow Stitching box. Anyway, but yeah, so this, I want to put this in a frame, and it's going to go to Esmeralda. And then this is like my second ever UFO project. I was doing, let me see, how can I show this? And actually I need some advice on this one. So I was doing the Dogs of Disney Stitch Along by, I want to say Abby Sue Designs. I'll put it on the screen. And I was so excited about it because I love Disney. I love dogs. Speaking of dogs, Miss Piper, you do not need to go out. You are fine. Lay down. Mwah. But okay, this might be easier. So I was super excited to do it. And first drop was Stitch. Stitched up Stitch. Super cute, adorable, right? And then I was like, okay, the next drop was Lady. Now, I know where I went wrong. But I got this far, nearly done. I had all the regular stitching done. Was doing the back stitching. As you can see, I was like halfway done with the back stitching. And I realized at some point, Lady's up too high. You see that? You see how ridiculous that is? And how I did that was because I was using a 6-inch key snap. And so when I started to stitch Lady, I could only see a little bit of Stitch's ear, and I counted off the wrong spot. I, thought I counted off whatever line, and it wasn't that line. And so I was pretty upset with myself, and I put this into timeout because my thing was, there's only 2 ways to fix this for me. Either I rip out all that stitching so that Lady can be in the right spot, or when I did the rest of the dogs, I was gonna have to do like an up-down pattern. So then, stitch, Lady's up, then put the next dog where it goes, and then the next dog has to go up, and I was gonna have to sort of make something work. And I didn't know. And I find that this happens to me when I know that I should just, let mistakes go, like just incorporate them but for me, especially with crafting being a way to like ease my anxiety does not allow things like this to stay. My anxiety does not allow me to look at a piece and know that I, you know, totally botched that. And, you know, and I know it's something I should probably work on, but, you know, I'm still new. Like, I've got years of stitching ahead of me to sort of work on it, but I put it away and I just knew that I was not going to do either of those two things. So, but I don't want to lose Stitch, especially because my friend Liv, Stitch is like her favorite. It's not, I mean, she loves all Disney. She owns every single of the Disney, you know, classic animated movies. She owns all of them. She owns all the Pixar movies. She owns Marvel. Like, Disney is her world. So, and Stitch is one of her favorites. So I want to save Stitch. But my question is, do you guys have any finishing ideas that don't involve where I could just like, because I don't really want to rip out part of Lady to get that fabric. You know what I mean? So I would have to cut right up to Lady. So I mean, it's not a lot of stitches. So I don't know, but I was thinking maybe, yeah, like I said, I don't have finishing skills. So it's obviously not going in a frame and it's obviously not going in a hoop. So I'm feeling like maybe like cut it as close as I can and then maybe trace some board. And trace some board, stick it to the board like a sticky board, and then a fabric on the back, maybe like a cord or a, cause it's gonna be, it's like, I think I can make it round. If I can make it round, then I think maybe I could just glue either cording or like a velvet type, you know, something around it so that you can't like see the exposed edge of the board. If that makes sense. If you have a better idea, please let me know, because those need to get sent off. Okay, so that's fully finishes, now whips. So before I did the unicorn, I put in a few days on my wreath, and I will put in a picture of what it looked like the last time you saw it. But basically, I did a lot. Mrs. Claus didn't really have a face before. She only had hair. I did hold on, let me think. I had some of the blue light in, but not all of it. I had most of it. I did the yellow light, orange light, blue light, all this purple, all this candy cane, and all of this green. From like, I'm not sure how much, but I did a lot of the green. So now this is almost called for. It's 14 count, picture this plus. I think Heartland is what was called for. I bought the kit. But I have made just like 2 color substitutions, and this is one of them. In the original, it's charted as like a pink ornament with silver speckles in it and a reindeer. I'm doing it in this purple because I had changed one of these Christmas lights to be purple over on this side somewhere. And so I wanted to tie the purple in again. And I didn't think that the brown for the reindeer and the pink that was charted, like the reindeer didn't really pop very well. So I thought that would be a good place to sub it in. So this is a classic Colorworks something. Yep. I'm good. I'm good with fabrics and flosses. But yeah, so it's a classic Colorworks something. It was just something I had picked up because I thought it was pretty, and when I went looking for a color, that's one I picked. It was a little hard to pick a color because those are all severely, you know, pastel-y colors. And so I didn't want anything too jewel toned, and obviously there's a lot of green in the piece already. There's a lot of red in the piece already. So I didn't want to go too dark, but I didn't have a lot of color options. So, and I did want to get more work done on that, but then I got distracted by the unicorn. As I said, I had like 10 stitchy days where I didn't do anything, and I had 2 things that I wanted to start in the month of October. So, didn't get back to the wreath after I did the unicorn. That was my plan. I was going to get back to the wreath, but then too much happened. So I moved on to my new starts, which this is the first one. This is the Modern Folk Embroidery Spirits of the Dead, which here, let me hold it over here so I can put a picture over there of what it will look like. And this is the inverted for dark fabric that Jacob charted. I watch Chris Cross Stitch, and when he said that he was going to do this, he was talking to Jacob about wanting to do it inverted and do it on black. So Jacob very generously and kindly went and inverted the top part so that you can stitch it on dark fabric with a white instead of black floss on a light fabric. And this is a Steel City Stitchers, the person from Steel City Stitchers who dyes fabric. It was in a Black Needle Society box. And so I don't remember what the color is. I think it was in the Pirate Life Stitching box. And it's a 16 count Aida. And I got about 21% done with this chart. This is super stitch heavy. And it's about 2,000 stitches in. But I did this in about a week, 5 or 6 days. And I was pretty happy with my progress. I only didn't do, in this arched part right here, is like flower vines and leaves, and I didn't want to start them because I need to be in the center and work my way out to them. So that's why that's empty. But it was quite difficult actually working around the negative space. It was just more complex than I thought it would be, having to kind of figure out which way to stitch so that I didn't dead end myself, and then if I was gonna go off somewhere to do stitches, you know, figuring out which ones needed to be half stitches and which ones needed to be whole stitches, like if I wasn't gonna come back that way, you know. So this actually took a fair bit of concentration, and I do basically have to stitch this exact same motif, you know, on the other side. But down here is a quote, and then the name and year is at the very, very bottom. But yeah, so I mean, this is a good heavy chunk of the stitching done. So pretty happy with that. And then which I should loosen this fabric a little bit more. My stitching nemesis right now. Okay, I showed you guys in my last video that I was going to be starting, I included it in my whip parade even though it wasn't a whip at that moment. Hydrate. I hadn't actually started it, but I had plans to start it. Is the Glendon Place Sleepy Hollow. Stitching this for my husband because he loves Sleepy Hollow. I am not sure. Had I realized how much back stitching is in this piece, I'm not sure that I would have done it. Now, I am making some heavy modifications to this. So my plan, I'm stitching this bottom part on its own, on a piece of fabric on its own, with the border, but again, with some slight modifications that I'll show you when I show you the piece. And then I'm stitching the top part, but just the horse, tree, and the moon, not the border, on a separate piece of fabric. And then I'm gonna have them framed together, but with a mat between them. So there will be, you know, like a big open spot where this goes, and then there will be a mat, you know, and then this piece will be below it. So it'll still be like this, but the border is only gonna be down here. So because of that, I didn't buy the beads because the beads were only in the border. So I'm just gonna do stitches in place of the beads. And I thought to myself, oh, let's start down here because it's small and easy and maybe I could even finish that bottom part. No. But I started down here, and this thing has been, it's been a thing. So first of all, this is the first project where I'm using floss away bags. I don't think I like I don't think I like having my baggies on a ring. And I did this because I do have a couple projects that have an absurd amount of floss. Like this is 35 or 36 DMCs. And then I put my Krynics and silk in one. And I just thought, like, oh, if I had them on a ring, you know, in numerical order, that would make finding them really easy. But it's just cumbersome working with the ring. I don't really have anywhere to put the ring that is easy. Like if I could slide the ring off, but I don't. Anywhere I have to put the ring, I have to actually undo the thing, which then means I need two hands. And I don't have anything like right in front of me. It's sort of like way over to the side. And so I have to put the stitching down. So I don't know that I like it being on the ring. I was already using bags, just not floss away bags. They were just super basic baggies that I picked up on Amazon. So I don't know if I'll keep using the ring. Again, I just thought it would be easier to find the floss, and it is easier to find the floss, but it's just cumbersome, I guess, to have them on the ring. So might take them off. But anyway, first project where I'm using that. And then I have my other piece of fabric. This is the piece that'll have the horseman on. And then here's my progress. I do have a loose thread because so here was my thought. I wanted some easy mindless stitching. So I was like, okay, let me try to stitch this border, right? First of all, blue on blue, not a lot of fun. And then I was like, it's 168 stitches wide. I know that I should have done the whole half stitches for 9 and then cross the 10th. I do that a lot, but I didn't. When I do that, I'm still constantly counting, you know, because I'm like, okay, I'm probably halfway through my row. So I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Then I do like 1 or 2 more, and then, you know, you question yourself. Or like, am I at 8 or am I at 9? So when I do that method, I am constantly counting. So I didn't want to constantly count. So I just stitched. I was like, I know that I can put in 2 lengths of floss before I could even remotely approach 168 stitches. So put in my 2 lengths, and then I started counting. Why is counting so hard? I counted this probably 4 times, and I was reasonably convinced that I was correct plus or minus 1 stitch. So instead of continuing the border, as you can see, I started going down, but that was just because I still had, you know, floss, and I wanted to kind of close it a little bit so that I knew where my border was. I just went ahead and put a few stitches down because I was like, I think that's right. And then I was like, I'll stitch the top row of motifs, because if I end up in the right spot, then it's right. If I have, you know, one extra stitch, I'll just frog it back one. If I have one less stitch, I'll just add, you know, a stitch. Like I was like, worst case scenario, all I gotta do is pull out those like 5 or 6 stitches that I did, you know, and either add one or minus one. It's fine. So but again, I'm modifying. So as you can see in the chart, it should be a double pumpkin there at both the beginning of the row and the end of the row. I didn't like that. I get why it's that way in the chart because of the border for the rest of the piece. But since I'm not doing that, I didn't think it made sense. So I subbed out the double pumpkins with skulls. So I did the skull, I did the first pumpkin, and the color changing is just ridiculous. There are 4 colors in that little tiny pumpkin because there's 3 shades of orange and the black. So did the skull, did the pumpkin, did the bat, and then I realized, okay, so did the bat, did the next pumpkin, did the skull. The only thing I was missing at this point was like the eyes and mouth on these 2 things, but all the other stitching for it was done. And then I realized that I only went 2 stitches away from that pumpkin, not 3. I was hot. Because in order to fix it, I would have had to rip out that face, and the whole bat, because it all needed to be down 1. So I was like, well, that's not happening. It's just not happening. So I was like, okay, how can but I was like, I got to get back on track because, you know, I still need to end with 1 stitch there. So I thought that the middle bat would be 3 because like the pumpkin and the skull are 2 stitches away from each other, but the bats had been 3 stitches away from the pumpkins. So I was like, okay, so instead of doing 3, 3, I'll do 4, 4, and then I'll repeat my mistake on the other side. So add a stitch, you know, add a stitch one way, subtract a stitch that way. But then when I actually looked at the chart, I was getting ready to do that, and then I actually looked at the chart. No, it wasn't 3, 3, it was 4, 5. I was like, so the bat was supposed to be 4 stitches away from this skull and 5 stitches away from that skull. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just do 5, 5, and then not repeat my mistake. But I feel like it took me 3 hours to figure that out, you know, like it was just so much brain power to like figure out, especially because, so this is a paper chart. I'm not a paper chart fan. I have it scanned and I'm using the Xdo, it's spelled XODO. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm using that PDF editor to mark off my stitches. But because of that, you know, they're on separate pages and separate PDF, or not, you know, separate images. So I feel like it took me 3 hours to figure out to just add the 1 stitch. And I think it looks fine. I was just worried. All I wanted to make sure was that A, I corrected my mistakes so that I would be in the right spot, and that B, I didn't have to do an inordinate amount of adding stitches or subtracting stitches to make it look weird. So I think it looks fine. I just was really mad at myself. Tonight I put in these last three guys, or 3 little ones, motifs. Sorry, trying to use gender neutral language here. I put in those last 3 tonight before I started filming because this is now going away. Yeah, it's gonna go away because October's over and I have other plans. So this is my start, and we'll see how long it takes me to get back to that. But the only thing I might do before I put it away though is I don't care for leaving threads hanging, and I have a very long thread, so I kind of want it to go to the bottom. We should be well within range of, you know, fitting this on here. So I kind of want to take that floss down to the bottom and turn the corner. But and that one I will do the cross, do 9 half stitches, cross the 10th. Because I don't want to have to try to do that counting again. That was intense. That was some intense counting. So yeah, that was the stitching that I did in October. And I'm going to talk about plans a little bit, and then I have some haul. So my plans are, first of all, I really want the Christmas wreath done. I don't think before November 20th is feasible anymore because I still have 5,000 stitches to put into it. So I think that, but I want it done in November. So plan number 1 is definitely, you know, stitch on this. I really want it done in November. It turns a year old on November 20th. So want that done. The other thing, I think that I want to attempt to have like a main focus piece, which would be the wreath. And then because I know myself that I get distracted or I get burned out, have a couple backup pieces. And so for both November and then going into December, I only have 2 other Christmas pieces, interestingly enough. I have a hair on me bothering me. So these are going to be my other 2 pieces that I will work on. Not so much in November because of that, but in December especially. So I'm going to want to work on the Nutcracker, which I showed you in my first whip parade. All I have right now is like 1 strand into this ornament. That's it. It was one of my birthday starts. So, but I think I will really enjoy working on this once I can get going, because I think that those motifs are going to be super satisfying to stitch and complete. And I don't even think I mind that it's, because that is also paper. I haven't scanned it yet to try to get at least like into the PDF, you know, editor. Why did I take that part out? But I don't mind that one too much being on paper. And I think it's because I just focus on the small motifs, you know? So yeah. And then my other piece that I want to work on, but this will definitely not be as, I won't make as much progress, but it's my Christmas deer. That was a kit that my husband gifted me last Christmas. So I'd like to make some progress on this. This one is just super hard for me because paper / really horribly scanned into Pattern Keeper. Plus the lengths of thread are super short, so it's constant. It's just constant changing because I can only stitch 20 or 30 stitches per thread. This would be a fabulous thread a day project if I could commit to thread a day. But you know, I did show it in my whip parade. I'm that far. And oh, this is picture this plus fog. It's either 16 or 18 count. I can't remember. I think I might have gone 16 count because of the shrinkage a little bit. It was intended to be stitched on 18 count, but since I was doing hand dyed, I thought maybe 16 count would be a better option. Plus I hate 18 count. So those are my plans. I don't plan to start anything. So hopefully next month you will see a finished Christmas wreath and a little bit of progress on the other 2 projects. Also under plans, I would love some opinions below. I am considering doing Flossmas because I have 5. I have 5 countdown boxes coming. I have Forbidden Fiber Co., Yule Ball. I don't remember the names of all of them, but I have Forbidden Fiber Company, Yule Ball. I have the Black Needle Society, Nice List. I have Stitchy Box ×2. I did both the Bash box and the regular countdown box. And then I just signed up for Fangirl Fibers has a countdown box for cross stitch as well. And that one is Disney themed. And this designer who's designing the pattern also designed the Dogs of Disney. So, and I've looked through her Instagram. She does a lot of like Disney fan art stuff. So I have 5 boxes coming, so that would be a lot of content for Flossmas. I don't know if I can commit to a daily video just because I'm so bad about doing the actual editing and uploading of said video. And I know that for Flossmas it would be super minor. It would just be add a little picture at the beginning, picture at the end. But with 5 things, I mean, they would probably be 15 to 20-minute videos, especially if I decided to do it like how Rachel Ray has done Vlogoween, is that she actually shows her crafty progress from the day before. So if I did that, it would, you know, take a little bit more time. So, and I know that daily videos can be not everybody's cup of tea. So I don't know, like, do you want to see Vlogmas? Or, sorry, Flossmas from me with my 5 boxes from Black Needle Society, Stitchy Box, Fangirl Fibers, and Forbidden Fiber Co. Thinking about doing it, you know, we'll see. If I do it, I would probably do my next Flosstube a couple days early to try to have it up before December 1st. So that way I wouldn't be loading it up on like the 1st or 2nd. I would have it up like on November 30th. And then there wouldn't be much of a, you know, there wouldn't be much of a Flosstube for January because I probably would have showed you everything I did already. So I won't be doing like an end of the year whip parade because I just did a whip parade. I do, however, want to do a kitted parade. So maybe I'll, instead of doing a actual Flosstube in January because I've showed you daily progress, I could do my kitted parade then. So weigh in below. Okay, haul. It's not too bad-ish. So I thought I would start digitally. I bought 3 patterns just the other day, actually. This almost didn't make it to this haul. But I got in a little bit of trouble on Etsy. I have some things coming, but I bought another Quirky Quaker. That is the sheep. That is Darling and Whimsy Designs. Quirky Quaker number 8 sheep. It is 39 by 39. This is my third. This will be, well, I have other Quirky Quakers, but I've stitched 2 of them. I attempted another one, but it was like the first time I was stitching on even weave and I was using variegated floss, and I'm very fussy about my variegated floss, so then I severely miscounted and I abandoned it. But I got the sheep. And then I went ahead and I bought, and I have no plans to start any of this anytime soon, but I bought from My Home in the Garden by Hello from Liz Matthews. And I really like this chart when she sneak peeked it several months ago on her Instagram. Like the house is just perfection. Like it's a perfect brick house. And I just really love the colors in this. It's charted all in Gloriana silk. And I might just be extra enough to, I say that, but I know how expensive Gloriana Silkus, but it's beautiful and the colors are just so vibrant. Maybe though, maybe I might shoot a message to Leanne from Forbidden Fiber Co. because she's been doing floss packs for various designers, and I know she has a floss pack for another one of Liz Matthews' charts. So maybe I could convince her to make a floss pack for my home in the garden. And then also by Hello from Liz Matthews, I got, when the cover page loads, I got Gather Here. And I actually don't know if I want to stitch the words, but I really love the bird and the branches and leaves and stuff. But it says Gather Here with Grateful Hearts. And I just think it's beautiful. And I actually thought that might be a kind of cool one to try over one stitching, because then it would be teeny tiny, because it is kind of big. I will say one tiny thing about buying Liz Matthews PDFs. When you purchase the PDF on Etsy and then you go to download your files, she separates them into 3 different files. So there's a cover photo page file. There is a back page file, so that has like the flosses and the stitch count and instructions and stuff like that, and then there's the actual PDF. And I think perhaps she may have done that so that you can just take the PDF directly into Pattern Keeper, because Pattern Keeper can kind of sometimes be fussy about cover pages and stuff like that. But I just wish that there had been an option, like all those options, great, but then a 4th option to download it all in one file, because I'll have to get on the computer and splice them all together for my digital storage. It would be great for Pattern Keeper, but for my digital storage, I'd like to have them all as one file. So, okay. My haul requires a tiny, tiny bit of organization. Only minor though. Okay, there we go. So, oh, actually, hold please. Okay, I forgot that there was something that I wanted to show you in my haul that wasn't directly cross stitch related, but adjacent. So, when my husband and I went to the beach, we stopped in a little vintagey antique store, and I saw this sitting on a shelf, and I decided I would save the stitches. So this is a sunset kit, and I had found the name of it. I'll find it again and I'll put it, because you can still buy this like on eBay. But yeah, I just thought it was a pretty kit, or a pretty image, and I thought it should get saved. So I saved it, and then I thought I would show you the only other stitches that I have saved. These have all been fairly recent-ish purchases. I want to say like maybe July, August or so. This one, I don't really want to take it out of the plastic because I don't want it exposed yet, so there will be some glare. But I bought this on Etsy, and it's like a needlepoint or crewel. I don't actually know if crewel and needlepoint are the same thing or not, but I thought that this netting was really interesting, and I hadn't really ever seen anything else, but I just thought it was really cool how they, you know, embroidered or needle pointed over this netting and then made, you know, this frame around it. And so I thought it was really cool. And so I wanted to save it, and then it's duct taped. But it should hopefully be easy enough to just find a frame to pop this into. But I have considered taking this to Acorns and Threads to be like, hey, help me. Because it is kind of thick. So like an off-the-shelf frame might be difficult. But again, that came from like an Etsy seller that she obviously just sort of like finds things at sales and stuff and then resells, but it was reasonable. So then this, I don't know why, but I've been on a puffin kick, and this is actually, the listing even said that that is, I believe, Mount St. Helens. It's either Mount St. Helens or it's Mount Rainier, which is Pacific Northwest. And these cute little puffins, and it was already framed and everything. And the person who stitched it did it in 95. Yeah, so cute. So that is my entire collection currently of Save the Stitches. But now I don't get to thrift stores and stuff as often as I would like to, because the hours don't usually work for me. Being a night owl, my husband is also kind of a night owl and works swing shift hours. Like by the time I'm ready to get out of the house is about when places like that are closing. But so the place that the winter scene came from, I had thought about buying it, and then I was like, no, maybe I won't. I was like, let me look around the rest of the store first. Now, I have been having this low-key obsession with, again, probably not a word I should use, fascination, intrigue with having a collection of teacups. And it sort of kind of started, but not really, because I was already wanting one when my best friend went to Europe. She went to England, and I was like, you have to get me a teacup. Like, you can't go to England and not get me a teacup and saucer. So I'll put in a picture of that one here. And then I was like, okay, well, you know, I have my one, and that's super special, and I don't need a collection. I don't need a collection. I don't have room for a collection. As you can see, I do have another one there, which, so over the summer, my husband and I went up to Seattle, and at Pike Place Market, there was a couple little like antique-y type places. And so I went in there, and they must have had thousands of teacups. But I bought that one, and I'll put in a picture of that one. And I just thought, and it was cute because I was like, that looks like something I would cross stitch. Like the flowers on it just seemed kind of pixel-ish, or seemed like something I would like to cross stitch, especially because I really liked the one that Fat Quarter Shop did recently, something about flowers. I'll try to put in a picture of what I'm talking about. But so while I was at this this store, I saw this and I was like, it's literally cross stitch. Well, not literally cross stitch, but it's cross stitch on a teacup. Do you see the grid? The little grid marks? So this, and they had two different ones, and this was the little tiny one. And I don't know why the tiny one was more expensive than the bigger one, but I didn't care because I was like, it's tiny and cute. But this is Royal Albert Petite Point China. So that was deliberate. And then even on the inside, which that's going to be even harder to show, there's that little border on the inside that's also pixeled. Yeah, it's pixeled. It's squares, blue, yellow, pink, and then like a darker pink. And then here is the saucer that goes with it. And again, it has the, so I was like, I can't not buy that. It has to come home with me. But then, actually, well, so before I saw this one, I was rounding a corner, and I probably would have bought that, let's be honest, regardless. But so first I saw the needlepoint, but I was on the fence. I was like, let me check out the rest of the shop first. And then I saw this, and this was like a sign to me to just buy all the things there that I wanted to buy. So my grandmother had a set of china that she used for all of her holiday dinners. And I, actually, the table that I'm used for my dining room table was my grandma's dining room table. When my grandma passed away, I told my family I didn't really want much. Like, I took some things, but those were mostly like smaller, like trinkety type things. But as far as like big things went, I just told my family, I was like, I want her dining room table, because I've literally had every holiday meal pretty much of my entire life at that table. And seeing as how I was probably going to be the one to continue doing the holiday dinners because my mom was in no condition or shape to, my aunt could but doesn't really like to or want to, I was like, I'm probably going to carry on doing the Christmas dinners, so I think that I should have the table. So I've considered trying to collect the china that she had, which we as a family still have it. My aunt has it, but again, my aunt doesn't really use it, and I'm pretty sure that when she passes, she will pass it to me, because my cousins are about 10 and 15 years younger than me, and I don't think they care. They're not, they're not really sentimental about that kind of thing. So I'm pretty sure her china will eventually come to me. But I've toyed over the years of like starting to collect her china. But China's not cheap. And so I never had. And then I saw this at that antique store. So this is a teacup and saucer of my grandma's china. And it is called Blue Calico. And I saw this, they had 3 there, but I mean, obviously I'm not building a whole set, so I didn't buy them all. But I was like, this is a sign. My grandma frequently finds ways to reach out to me, and this was definitely one of them. So I had to have this, and then I was like, just buy all the things. So like I said, the cross-stitch thing I probably would have bought anyways, or the cross-stitch teacup I probably would have bought, but that was sort of what tipped me over to buy the needlepoint as well. So I bought those at that. So it was a very long, explanation for that bit of haul. The rest of this is it's not too intense, but I have some project bags. So my very good friend Heather gifted me some money to Love You More Studio Co. And so I bought these for my birthday. Black cat with the lime fabric, and the inside is like polka dotty. And then they had a whole line of Seinfeld ones, but I didn't love all of the Seinfeld ones, and I kind of felt like if I buy any of the Seinfeld ones, I need all the Seinfeld ones, because they had a Kramer, George, Elaine, and Jerry. But then this one sort of stood alone, and it's the Soup Nazi, No Soup for You. And like, I liked Jerry and I liked Elaine, but like I wasn't crazy about Kramer. It was weird. I I kind of wanted all or none, but this one stood alone to me, so I had to have No Soup for You. And I've actually been watching Seinfeld in like season 5 now. I've been binging that for a couple weeks now. And then from a seller on Etsy, Jordy's Handmade. Jordy's Handmade on Etsy. I bought a 12 Days of Christmas bag because I am also a big fan of 12 Days of Christmas. Right now I only have one pattern, which is from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, but I have my eye on other 12 Days of Christmas patterns as well. So I will definitely be stitching a 12 Days of Christmas pattern at some point. Looks like the inside is the same as here. The bag is a little thin. Let me remind myself what I paid for this. It's a little thin. I think the bag was $30, but it is bigger than normal, I feel like. But yeah, so it has all the, you know, the scenes represented. But yeah, so, and it has a nice pull. I like when I get a pull that's not just like a ribbon, or I like to get a charm as a pull. So I got that. And then the rest is clothes. Bestitch Me was kind enough to come in just in the nick of time to film this. So I am a member of Fiberlicious Fabric of the Month, and I get 32 count Lugana. And this month's was called Wicked Nights. I knew the preview picture for this was like super stunning. I knew my piece wouldn't get that dark because it's Lugana, and even weave does not dye as dark as Aida and linen do. But I do wish it had been a little darker. Okay, what am I missing here? Always get them folded back up. All right. I also, this will be my last month though in the floss of the month, just because I think everything she does is really gorgeous, but her flosses are all super variegated, and I don't like variegated floss so much. That bag was really holding on. That bag was like, I'm gonna split down the middle before I open at the top for you. So yeah, this is my last floss of the month that I'll be getting. She usually does send like 1, maybe 2 that aren't super variegated. So we have Ashes to Ashes, Storm Brewing. This has got like, it goes from dark gray to, or I mean dark blue, lighter blue, and gray in it. Some of these are cool though because of Halloween. This one is Trick or Treat. We have purple, green, brown, black, orange. There's just a ton of colors in this one. Gotta do the trick, right? Again, variegated. Night's Watch. Has blues, browns. That's kind of like a midnight blue in there. A little bit of a tealish color. And then Bubbling Cauldron. Green and black and gray variegated. A little bit of blue. Actually, there's more blue in that than I expected. Camera's really not picking up the blue. Oh, there it goes. And this was the sort of inspiration card that came with it. Next, Fortnite fabric. I get, oh, that was open. I get the, like, what do they call it? The, like, expensive rich club or something like that. And I haven't actually opened these to look at them yet. It's very like peachy pink. It's big. I get, this doesn't give me the size on here, but I think it's like the quarter. So like probably approximately 17 by, or 18 by 26. But yeah, that's a little better. Yeah, it's very, very peachy, and it's opal. The expensive, whatever it's called, expensive rich club one is opal. It's named VIP on here, but I don't know for sure. The emails have the names, but then sometimes they abbreviate on the card. So like this next one says R&B, but I remember that the email said Rocky and Bullwinkle. Sorry. Now this, I've been kind of excited to see this opened up. Oh. Pretty. This is a lot like the colorway that Fiberlicious was going for, but they tend to have a more modeled, like very intense modeling. And I like that Fiberlicious keeps, you know, keeps it a little bit more muted as far as modeling. And this is their duo line. So they have 3 lines. They have that rich club, which is the opal. Then they have this duo line, and then they have like sampler gray. But I was like, I don't want 12 fabrics, you know, over the year that are just like shades of gray. So I went with the duos instead of the sampler gray. Although, you know, neutrals are never bad. But I still, except for that piece of Ada, I haven't stitched on the Fortnite fabric even weave. This is my Color and Cotton. Oh. Okay, the only thing that hasn't gotten here is Forbidden Fibrico. I get her floss because I was like, I'm missing floss. But she doesn't do, her billing doesn't seem to be like, all my other clubs bill on the 1st and then they usually ship by around the 20th. She's a more mid-month. So I won't get my October floss until like a little bit into November. So, but Color and Cotton, I have to say that I don't quite understand their club because I watch Jessie at Mislaid Pages and they get like primitive and colorful or primitive and bright. I didn't have that option when I signed up for Color and Cotton, so I don't know. But I had the option to sign up for 5 or 10 skeins. So I signed up for 10 skeins. So we have Pale Ochre, Forest, it's pretty green. I haven't actually stitched with Color and Cotton yet, but I'm collecting it. Hollyberry. Those 3 really strike me as like a really good, I'm reminded of like a Blackbird Designs, like a winter Christmassy Blackbird Designs. Then we have peach cobbler, pumpkin jack, a little bit of oh yeah, there's got some like deeper orange in there. See, I can handle like a tiny bit of variegation. I can't I don't do well with like the multicolor unless it's like a mandala or words. I can do variegated for that. But then the other pack was bronze. Cardamom? Cardamom. Not mum, mom, cardamom. Powder blue. Lapis. And light coral, which is almost looks like my skin tone. No, it's more pinky than the camera is picking up. Yeah, if I hold it back here, there, yeah, there you go. The brown background, you can see how much more pink it is. Hold up against my skin, it kind of washes out. Last, I know, I'm in a lot of clubs. Lastly, I have Stitch Me. I get both her, she has like a stamp. What is with the bags going down the side? I'm trying to grab the flap, you know, with the sticky. The bags are just splitting. I don't know how these fabric dyers and Flosstube get them into the packages, because these I basically just have to trash. If I want to open it to look at it, I just have to trash it. I like that she staples her thing. Fortnite fabric, I wish they would staple or do something, because then I have to put it in a baggie if I want to keep the tag until I get around to putting it on my floss card, which, so because I get Jobelan, these cuts are huge. Look at that. It's 18 by 34. Like, oh my gosh. But this is called Vintage. And it's a very, there's more pink in it than is coming across. But it is very neutral. It's almost, like silvery pink. But yeah, Jobelan comes in a longer, I don't know why you get an 18 by 34 in Jobelan. I know it has to do with like how the fabric, you know, is measured, but I don't know why it's so much longer. Cause like on Lugana, it's like 18 by 27 or something like that. And then I get her other one, which is like always a bright. I can't remember how she does it. One of them alternates between like neutral and bright, and then the other one is just like always bright, but you know, they're never the same color. So this is really, really pretty. And it is called Cardinal. Look, oh my gosh. It's so pretty. It is, it's a very pinky red, but I feel like maybe the camera's making it more red. I don't know, maybe it's true. But yeah, they're huge. Look how huge they are. But yeah, I love all of my clips. And then, like I said, I get Forbidden Fiber Co Floss as well. Still waiting on that to come. But yeah, so that is my haul. And I think that's it. If you've made it, no, maybe I should just save that for, I'll either save it or maybe I'll do a separate short video to talk about it, but I do want to talk about a potential idea that I'm having for donating to a charity. But I think if I start talking about that now, it might take me like 10 or 15 minutes, and this is already like an hour and 15 or an hour and 20. So that is it. That's all I have to show you this time. like I said in the comments below, please let me know your thoughts about how I might be able to finish that stitch piece for my friend, and also if you want to see me do Flossmas with my 5 countdown boxes. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here and watching, liking, subscribing, and until the next one, bye.